he, no more? He's calling in.
Oh, he's calling in?
He's calling.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Schiff. Here. Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
Mr. Cabrera.
I am here. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, the notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape County on October 4th, 2023, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 13th, 2023. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is the door to our front left, your back right, or just by the American flag. A couple quick announcements. We're going to do a quick sound check here. Mr. Kniff, how are we sounding? We are live here on the borough's Facebook and the YouTube channel. If anybody that's watching remotely would like to answer or ask a public question, you're more than welcome to use the dial-in conference line. That number is 888-363-4734, and when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch this recorded version of the meeting and you have questions, you're more than welcome to email our clerk at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org or phone her at 609-729-8040. We have no ordinances on the agenda for this evening. Madam Clerk, may we move right to the resolutions, please?
Yes, sir. The first is authorizing expenditure to purchase one pile high compaction rear loader Durapack 5000 27 cubic yard eject contract under the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program for the Public Works Department.
I'll motion it. I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to void certain checks issued from the Borough Disbursement Account.
Motion that. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing refund of property taxes or utilities overpayment made payable to CoreLogic.
Motion. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing amendment to the 2024 municipal budget to account for additional funding from the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services for the fiscal year 2024 American Rescue Plan Firefighter Grant Program.
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is supporting October 6th, 2024 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day.
Motion. I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is approving updated flood insurance promotion activity with the Atlantic Cape Multi-Jurisdictional Program for Public Information.
Motion. I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is canceling bond ordinance improvement authorization balances.
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second that.
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all reports received from the court administrator, chief of financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending August 30th, 2024 be accepted as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that all reports received from the court administrator, chief financial officer, tax collector, chief of police, supervisor for the recreation department, construction official, emergency services coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company chief for the month ending, it should be August 31st, 2024, be accepted as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all minutes from the commission's meeting dated August 21st, 2024 and September 4th, 2024 be approved as presented.
Second it.
It has been moved and seconded that all minutes from the commission meetings dated August 21st and September 4th, 2024 be approved as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
And Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
Okay, that brings us to our reports. We're going to come back to the administrator's report. We have our engineer, Mark de Blasio, on the conference line. Mr. de Blasio, can you give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A couple of updates here relative to capital projects. The first one is the big one. It's the Bayside Bulkhead Replacement Project that was awarded at the last commissioners meeting. We had a pre-construction meeting on September 12th. Contracts have been executed. The contractor is scheduled to start work approximately in 3 more weeks. We continue to receive phone calls from property owners who have been noticed. We're answering their questions. We're trying to, ameliorate any concerns and help them. So that's an ongoing process up until this phone call. So onward and upward with that project. We have 2 capital projects that are on deck ready to go out to bid. The first one is the fiscal year 2023 NJDCA Small Cities Program. That is the project that the borough received grant money to renovate the borough municipal hall bathrooms to make them ADA compliant. We are in position to request a resolution to bid at the next meeting. Once we strike that bid schedule and that resolution is approved, that project will go out to bid. Similarly, the borough has the fiscal year 2024 NJDOT Municipal Aid Program for the reconstruction of Toledo Avenue. Again, that project we're going to be requesting to go out to bid at the next meeting. And should that resolution carry, we'll be on our way. And both projects should be into construction, if all goes well, before the end of the year.
Okay.
That is my report.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, Mayor. I have one other thing here. Relative to grant opportunities, at the last meeting, we did talk about the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, which is a very solvent state-run program for water sewer improvements. We had a pre-planning application meeting with the I-Bank and borough officials on September 5th. I would categorize that as a very good meeting. We were informed that there's $2 million in grant money out there for sewer replacement, which can also translate into roadway repaving and reconstruction, as well as the fact that if the borough signs up for what's called technical assistance, once the borough completes that process and checks that box, it makes the borough eligible to pay for engineering fees associated with that project. So we're potentially looking at a $2 million grant for sewer replacement, as well as having our professional fees on the engineering side paid for as well. So I thought that was a good meeting.
Okay, thank you. Governing body, any questions for Mr. de Blasio?
None for me. Thanks, Mark.
Enjoy the game.
Public, any questions of our engineer? Anybody else on the conference line have any questions for our engineer?
But Mayor, I'm going to stay on the call in case there's any questions throughout the duration of the meeting.
Okay, just do me a favor and just mute out.
I will.
All right, thanks. Okay, next on the agenda is the administrator's report. Connie?
Thanks. The Hereford Inlet to Cape May Inlet Beach and Dune construction. Coastal Engineering, in coordination with the Army Corps, continues to work with de Blasio and Associates on the finalization of the survey exhibit maps required for the easements for this project. Consultants for the Office of Coastal Engineering, we also refer to as OCE, continue to finalize title searches on the property interests within the project limits in the borough. Once those searches are completed, de Blasio and Associates should be able to formalize and formally finalize those exhibits. The Army Corps Real Estate team continues to investigate lured options for our Crest Fishing Pier. They will determine if we are eligible, what is needed from us, and what the next steps are. I expect to get an update from them in the next couple of weeks. De Blasio and Associates is working on a plan for the fishing pier currently, which would determine the amount of lured credit that we would be eligible for. New Jersey Avenue. Planning work is ongoing in advance of the county's roadway diet project. This project is going to be bid as one project, with the Crest being responsible for lighting, parking lots, and landscaping. It's expected to commence with sewer improvements by the borough only in 2025, and with the county doing the road diet work and the other improvements in 2026. Taylor Design Group is currently working on final drawings for this project that will be very animated and easy to understand by the public, and as soon as they're available, we'll publish those. And Triad is completing an informational piece which will explain the project in great detail. Sunset Lake State Channel Dredging Phase 2. The New Jersey Department of Transportation's Office of Maritime Resources project manager has retired. He is coming back as a consultant. In the meantime, I have spoken to his boss, Genevieve Clifton. She has named a new project manager. I do expect that Commissioner Franco and I will be meeting with her and Scott Douglas when he does come back as a consultant to discuss the channel dredging of the state's channel that does traverse through Sunset Lake in Wildwood Crest, and our request to move the state's channel. And I'll keep everybody updated on that. I just don't have a date for that meeting yet. CAFR applications, we don't currently have any CAFR applications out there, but will in the near future. We have satisfied all information requests from the DEP on our ADR meeting. That's an alternate dispute resolution. I continue to ask our attorney for updates on a biweekly basis, but have not yet heard back. I'm not going to cover the Bayside the bulkhead project because Mark just did that. Washington Avenue, we're still awaiting word from FEMA on our FMA grant application. And the county local roadway safety plan, I did send the governing body the draft of that plan via email, I believe yesterday. You all have that now, and it's in a PDF form if you need me to print it for you. It is extremely long. I think it's 250 pages, so that's why I sent it to you via email. So please take a look at that. Our Safe Streets for All federal grant application in the amount of $200,000 was submitted on August 29th, and hopefully we will be successful in getting that. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
Public, any questions of our administrator? Yes, sir. Sure.
Just your name though, sir.
My name is Eric Morey. You just mentioned two projects or presentations, one about New Jersey Avenue and road diet.
Yep.
When is that presentation going to be expected to be
We
completed?
did several presentations in the past, but we will be doing a refresher and update once we have those final drawings from Taylor Design Group. We don't have a date yet. We're still awaiting those drawings as well as the specifications. So until we have that, there would be no point. And Triad will be putting out an informational package. It'll all be published on our website as soon as we have it.
I'm only asking because I don't want to miss
Yeah,
it.
sure. We'll definitely let everyone know.
Okay. Also, that county road safety report, is that a public report?
I believe so, yes. If you go on to the South Jersey Transportation Planning Authority on their website, it should be there. If not, you can come see me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Sorry, South Jersey Transportation Planning Organization. There's an O at the end.
Anybody on the conference line have any questions of our administrator?
Yeah.
Hearing none, we're going to move on to the public safety reports. We'll start with Chief Lloyd.
Good evening, governing body. I'm going to go over some highlighted points from my report to the Director of Public Safety for the month of August. In the month of August, the Police Department responded to 2,526 calls for service. 1,294 of those required multiple officers. We conducted 662 criminal investigations, 522 service calls, which include alarms, citizen assist, fires, medical assist, school-related activities, and utility complaints. Conducted 617 motor vehicle stops, issued 136 traffic summonses. We had 21 motor vehicle accidents. We conducted 453 property checks, conducted 127 hours of training, and we had 31 adult arrests last month compared to our 18 last year, so that's a 72% increase, and we had 11 DWIs. I'd also like to mention, so the public is aware, there may be some, there's going to be some traffic and some detours around the Assumption Church tomorrow because of the unfortunate and sad passing of our Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company Assistant Chief Jack Holland. So please be aware of that. It's going to be from 9 to noon, and then there will be a procession moving through town, so just be aware of that.
Public, any questions for our chief? Hearing none, thank you. We're going to move right on to our EMS supervisor and OEM coordinator, Mr. Cripps.
Good evening, everybody, governing body, public. I'll start off with the fire company report. 56 calls of service for the month of August. 6 fires, that includes building fires, cooking, and rubbish, as well as vehicle and mulch. 8 rescue assists, medicals, MVAs, or elevator entrapments. 5 hazardous conditions, range from gas leaks, electrical hazards. 2 service calls, assist police or public assist. 6 good intent calls, those are like smoke scares or odors that were unfounded. 28 malfunctioning alarms. 1 special assignment, and that gives it all a total of 56 calls of service for the month of August on behalf of Chief Cortez. EMS, we did 170 calls for service. 69 were transports, 32 fortunately refused. We had 48 rescue calls regarding the elevator assignments as well as fire standbys. 13 no cause for action, 2 turnover to other agencies. Mutually received, we received 8 calls for service from Wildwood come in and 1 from North Wildwood, and we were given, we're givers not takers, and Wildwood for number 20, North Wildwood for 2, and Lower Township for number 11. Again, like I said, on behalf of Chief Cortez, remind everybody tomorrow's funeral for Assistant Chief Jack Holland. Everyone's aware, a loss there in our community. So that's all I have for my report. If anybody has any questions,
Public,
comments?
any questions? Anybody on the conference line, questions for Mr. Cripps? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Cripps.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, Beach Patrol, Commissioner Shifts, you're going to give the report?
Yeah, Chief has asked me to give this report. Last guarding day was Sunday, September 8th. Past weekend, September 14th, 15th, emergency response team was on duty from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Chief's advice is no guard, no swimming. Next weekend, September 21, 22, will be the last time emergency response team will be on duty from 10 a.m. to 5. He wants to thank everyone for their cooperation and support in another safe and successful summer on the beach. Total team effort that makes the borough of Wildwood Crest a special place to work and live. Everyone on the beach patrol is looking forward to working out at the newly renovated headquarters in 2025. That's his report.
Thank you. Any questions? Public?
Is the building open?
Yes.
Yeah. When was that?
What's that?
Well, when did it happen?
It's unofficial right now. We're just moving some stuff in there. We don't have the CO, so we can't stay in there. But we should have it shortly. We have a punch list that we're going through right now. All right, looks good. When we open up, I'll take you through.
Thank you.
You'll like it.
Okay. That's it for public safety reports. We're going to move on to the Assistant of Public Works, Nick Ebner. You have your report for this evening? No report? Okay.
It doesn't get old, does it?
You had to initiate it one way or the other.
You just-
Oh, boy. All right, under correspondence, so we received an email with respect to bicycle safety on the bike path. In essence, if I can summarize the email, it was to have new paint or traffic markings on the bike path identifying which way, to head north, which way to head south, to hopefully create a more safe environment. There is some old paint that's on the bike path that was from years ago, and just take everybody through it. The bike path has been widened since then, so the traffic paint is off-center, if you will. So I think that the request was to have the old paint removed, put some new paint up. I'll remind everybody that we have a CAFRA permit that allows for the municipality to improve the bike path. If you recall, we just did the foot showers and the new walkways. So when that was permitted, we also got permitting to bikescape, streetscape, whatever you want to call it, to make the bike path just a little bit nicer. There's no immediate time frame for that at the moment, but in the short term, the request was is there anything we can do? So, not sure how everybody feels about it. I know that's probably something that we might be able to do in-house, but it might be time-consuming, so it might be something we may need to bid out or have a contractor do it. Thoughts, comments, suggestions?
Well, one person I'd like to have involved, if we're going to move forward, I think we need to have discussion anyways. Number one is the cost, as everybody's well aware of, but also to have Ralph and the chief of police and probably even the EMS to make sure that we cover our spaces. I thought we were going to try to redo that path. I thought we had money that we were going to try to redo that path at one time or another later down the road.
That's what I just said. We have the permit in place, but to make the improvement, that would be a capital improvement, which there's other projects in the queue before that one.
I think it's worthy of discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think, if we can you talk with your team to see if we can do that? I think the request would be in time for next summer.
Sure.
If there's anything that Public Works would need to assist with, and I think the only way to remove paint, I don't know if a pressure washer do it, but that may have to be sandblasted off or something along those lines. So, or if there's some sort of environmentally safe chemical that could remove it, I'm not sure, but that's all things we need to look at. But if you need help from engineering or Public Works, just let me know, then we'll get it going. But I think the goal would be to have it done before next summer.
All right.
All right. Madam Clerk, can we move that under the old business?
Will do.
All right, next one is solicitation for offshore wind renewable energy. There's a request from, it's in our packets. The mayor of Long Beach has sent us, or I guess his consulting firm has asked us to send a letter opposing the offshore wind project and the BP as it relates to the BPU. I did read it, and I think our position has always been to oppose the anything that has to do with wind turbines in the ocean. So I guess the question is are we all okay with Trish putting together that letter, and I guess I would sign it, and
Correct.
then we would get it out.
Yes.
No problems for me, yes.
Okay.
I have that ready for you anyway, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, that takes care of the correspondence. Under new business, draft ordinance for the occupancy limitations on rental units. So we did discuss this at a previous meeting about, I think it was about a month ago, and our takeaway from that was to develop an ordinance, which Solicitor Galzunas has done. I believe he's pulled ordinances from neighboring municipalities, and this was in relation to rental houses, packing or overpacking the rental units with tenants, more so than the occupancy. And we realized that our ordinance needed some cleanup and some revisions, so I think Mr. Galzunas had done that, and also would prohibit landlords that are renting to seasonal workers or any seasonal folks at all from overcrowding and packing people into units, making it uncomfortable and unsafe. So, Mr. Galzunas, can you give us an update on what you have?
Certainly, Mayor. So the borough has on its books an ordinance which regulates the rental of properties in the borough. That ordinance largely adopted based on state statutes from the early 1990s that address concerns of shore towns along the coastal counties were permitted to pass this ordinance, which regulated the rental of properties. That ordinance has an existing provision that allowed for the posting of a bond in the event that there were 4 or more qualifying incidents on a property within a 2-year period, that being someone being convicted of a violation under Title IIC, which is the criminal code in the state, and or a violation of a municipal ordinance that constituted a breach of peace. The existing ordinance also had a provision for the revocation or suspension of an existing mercantile license under the same circumstances. So on review of the statute allows actually to tighten that up a little bit and reduce the number of violations, what they call qualifying violations, down to 2 in any 2-year period. So in the event that anyone staying in a property is convicted of a violation of Title IIC or a municipal ordinance, it's a breach of the peace in any 2-year period, the municipality could hold a hearing and have that property owner post a bond. If the conduct continues at the property, that bond could be forfeited, and or revocation of their mercantile license or suspension of their mercantile license. So those were existing provisions in the ordinance, and we're just going to tighten them up as much as possible under the statute, which allows us to do that. Missing from our ordinance was a provision that you mentioned, Mayor, concerning occupancy. We had no occupancy limits. Certain buildings have occupancy limits under construction codes, fire codes, and whatnot. Rental properties do not, so we're going to impose an occupancy limit. That's going to be based on occupancy limits for multifamily homes, and that would be in a sleeping area that's 70 square feet, you're allowed to have 1 occupant. For every 50 square feet above that, you need for any subsequent occupant. So you can't use kitchens or hallways or non-habitable areas to count towards your occupancy limit. So you'd only be talking about probably your living room with a pull-out couch and your sleeping quarters. That will prevent people from having 20 or 30 people show up for the weekend and pack in. That will be a requirement as part of obtaining a mercantile license. They'll have to demonstrate the square footage, which they already do for certain things, and then they'll calculate the square footage. That'll be inspected annually by the fire inspector to make sure that documentation is correct. That information would also have to be posted in a public place, visible, let's say somebody walking up to the door, and visible to the occupants staying in the premises, that you're not allowed to occupy the property with more than X amount of people. If the place sleeps 10, then it's 10 people. And then also, it would prohibit advertising a rental property that sleeps 20 people or whatever. And then, as you mentioned as well, the student housing or international student housing, where some instances they're putting 4, 5, 6 people into a single bedroom. That would stop that as well. So this is going to be We hope mostly a deterrent, and as mercantile licenses go out, property owners would be notified at that point. When they apply for their license, if they haven't seen that, it'll be part of the application process. So going into next summer, if this ordinance is in place, if the commissioners adopt this, the property owners will be put on notice and they'll have to comply with the occupancy provisions. And also the tightened up restrictions on breach of the peace type offenses that would be occurring on their properties. So that's it. It's really just 3 amendments to an existing ordinance. It's a very surgical amendment, very specific, very limited. But hopefully it has potential to have a big positive effect.
So Ron, I got a question for you. How do we police this thing? If there's complaints, do we sit there and count?
Well,
it's great to have all this stuff, and I think there's a need for it.
Yeah.
But my problem is that we get a call, what do you do?
Well, right. So the public has to understand that law enforcement's constrained in what they can do. You're not kicking in the door, so to speak, and entering a property and counting heads and writing tickets. That's simply not going to happen. Enforcement, we hope, will come through just putting the property owners on notice, a deterrence that they can't do this. You'll have instances, I guess, where, maybe fire inspectors will be on the property, code enforcement can be there, law enforcement will be there. So like anything else, it's not going to be easy to enforce, but at least we would have something on the books to enforce and the ability to tell people, no, you can't do this. I mean, that's one of the main things, right? No, you can't do this, you can't pack them in, you're going to be limited. And most people, I think, conscientiously would comply with that.
All right. I agree with it. I just was
Yeah.
wondering
Yeah.
how, what, and where. Well, you had this.
Well, I guess you could run through your head a million different strange scenarios where you find yourself on the property and, hey, how many people are staying here? Oh, we're having a big party, there's 20 of us staying here. And you look on the window and it says occupancy limit 10. Is there's going to be a basis to issue a summons to that person or to the property owner?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Trish, we circulated that draft ordinance to everybody, right? So I think that if everybody could just take a deep dive on it, let Ron know if there's any revisions or questions, but I think it's probably our best interest, the earlier we can introduce it and adopt it, the better, so that we can get the word out, because I think, when there's, to your point of advertising, and I think folks need to know in advance of next year that they have it on Airbnb. If it holds 10 people and they got it advertised for 16, they probably need to know that in advance. I think it probably makes sense to do it sooner
And that's
than
an
later.
enforcement, way to enforce it as well, is to simply check the advertisements. And advertisements do put out there, yeah, we can sleep so many people, so.
Okay, so the goal, I think, if everybody's okay with it, would be to introduce it at the first meeting in October.
Yes.
That works for everybody?
I have to.
I have no problem.
Okay, that takes care of new business. Under old business, police composition, possible ordinance amendment. So just to confirm, composition will remain the same. However, there is still language in the ordinance that needs to be revised. Right, Mr. Young? If I remember correctly,
Yes.
there was a lot of other language there that needs to be cleaned up. So I think that it still makes sense to introduce, at least with the revisions and the language changes, at the next meeting as well. Everybody okay with it?
Yeah, I'd like to say something, though. I just want everybody to know that I spent many hours discussing this possibility with the chief and reviewing the financial breakdown prepared by the CFO. I believe this is the best path forward for this police department and for the borough. The Class 2 program has become unreliable, and the liability of not staffing our police department properly is becoming great. I think we need to continue discussing this issue and make an educated decision as a governing body. I'm also aware that other municipalities have adopted the program that Chief came up with, and they are currently expanding their police department because of the lack of Class 2s. I just felt like I needed to say that.
Okay. Lighting detection, anything on that?
The other two boroughs or towns are very interested into getting this smaller version of the lightning detection system for each beach patrol building. Basically, it's breaking down to $33,000 per person, and it's very reliable. So I'd like to continue thinking about this and seeing what they're going to do first and do it as a community instead of a separate entity.
Okay. 250th birthday committee, no more information on that yet. Municipal app is a 2025 budgeting item. Old tourism building use, so we did have a internal capital discussion meeting yesterday. So as to your point, where the beach patrol is moving out into the new beach patrol headquarters, Public Works will need to get in there to start doing some renovation work to get ready for a potential leased space. My understanding is when we went out to the Arts Pavilion, we went out for the bid for the Arts Pavilion Beach Brew lease space. So we have a draft template of what could potentially be used in this area as well. So the question is what type of business do we want to see in there, in that building? And then go back to beginning of the year, I think we identified it is in the borough's best interest to create as much miscellaneous revenue as we possibly can, and that is a good location. So I think the potential rent there would be good, and to have that annual income coming in would be good for the borough as well to help keep our costs down. Okay, so if anybody has any ideas, feel free to shoot them out now or give it some thought. We can talk about it at the next one. But the work in there and the going out to bid, if someone is going to put a business in there for next year, we have to get on it sooner than later because they have plans and purchases that they would need to make. And I think as a result of our discussions yesterday, the suggestion, the idea would be not to put anything that requires a kitchen, like deep fried, like vats or grills or things that need ventilation, but things that, plug-in type services. So if anything, that would be a major increase in cost in there would maybe just be some upgraded electrical service. Other than that, the vendor would be the person to purchase the equipment and install it.
I had a question about that. So I was under the impression you only could put, say they're going to vend some sort of food so many yards away or so many feet away from another venue. There's a hotel across the street, or they're vending food, I believe. Would that be a problem?
Nothing I'm aware of.
No?
That's our ice cream ordinance.
Is that what that is?
The mobile ice
Yeah, I
cream
didn't realize
units are only
which
allowed to
one.
be within 150 feet of, I think that's what you might be thinking of?
Yeah, I think so. I just didn't know that came into this thing too.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be food. I was just throwing something out there. It could be a service. It could be retail. Something. It's a high traffic area. It's the surfing beach. The beach patrol is there. The bike shop. The turnaround for the bike path is there. Halfway. It's the midway point of the borough. So I think it would have. It's a good idea. A lot of traffic in there.
So the demo would happen before the new year?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, with the work that we do, it's really just more just remodeling. We don't even really need to demo anything. Just upgrade it. Just give it a fresh look in the inside, and then when someone comes in there. But the electrical work, I'm not sure how that would play out.
That
But
would need to be upgraded.
the electrical would have to be upgraded because I know that there's been issues in the past with not having enough electrical service in that building. In fact, I think, Mr. Ebner, can you make a note to have an electrician go in there and see what it would take to upgrade that service? I'm not sure what's there now, but maybe he can give us some options for if there are some additional equipment. What would be the recommendation for the size of the panel, or what would need to happen just to help us get an understanding of what that cost may be. All right. Historical museum, same thing. That would be in-house. Nothing major there. Proposed amendment to Chapter 79 time limit parking. So kudos to Ralph Grassi and the team for, I think they started putting the signs up on New Jersey Avenue and some of the paint. So I know that we need to get the ordinance amended and adopted so that we can start to enforce the new parking that we have there. Concession agreement, hotel zone and beach chairs, that's on hold. Traffic calming, Connie mentioned in her report. Back beach excavations on hold, we're just waiting to hear back on the Army Corps dune. Dredging, we have a new person at the DOT and a new person assigned to that, and between Connie and Mr. Franco, you guys keep us in the loop on that. New Jersey infrastructure pre-county, that is a part of the capital planning for 2025. Projected time frame for that, if once we get all our ducks in a row. Remember, we have to do this work is the sanitary sewer replacement on New Jersey Avenue. The borough owns that infrastructure. So when the county comes in and does their work in 2026, all of our work has to be done before they do their work on the county roadway. And that would be projected to start after the summer of 2025. Public Works roof, they were going to start on that project actually today, but because of the weather and the wind, they're going to hold off and start it on Monday. Beach outfalls and capacity, that's on hold and subject to the grant writer. Okay, that brings us, anything on our old business governing body?
No, sir.
Okay, that brings us to public comments. If anybody has any public comments, we do not need your address, just need your name, and feel free to come up to the podium. Just so everybody knows, that microphone does not amplify your voice. It actually just helps those listening and watching remotely. They can hear your voice, so you don't have to. See a lot of people, they scream at it, but you really don't have to because it doesn't amplify anyway. Anyway.
My name's Eric Morey. I had attended a meeting, I believe it was in the spring. I brought up just kind of general concerns, seeing those e-mobility, e-scooters, now the new golf carts have been, low-speed vehicles have become very popular. And then so there's like a lot of additional types of vehicles that are kind of interacting now in the streets, intersections, sometimes riding in the opposite directions or the same direction. And I don't know, I've been thinking about it, and it kind of expanded my thoughts on exactly what is going on and what can be appropriate to just be able to just accommodate everything. Everybody wants to come down here and have a good time in the summer. People live here all year round. Don't want to be, don't want to worry about their kids or themselves getting injured with, they just want to ride a bike or whatever it is. It seems like there's just more conflict now, and then just trying to find ways to accommodate everything as safely as possible, increase the safety. And then maybe, in addition, improving aesthetically. I know there's some very wide parts of New Jersey Avenue, which I think used to be a train stop, where that business district is. Just outside of this building, we have a pretty wide road. We don't. It's not the most. I don't know. Tourist friendly look, I guess. It's kind of. I kind of think of it as like a parking lot aesthetic. So I don't know, just ways like to kind of spruce it up at the same time. I've had a lot of thoughts, and I know there's a lot of potential directions that you can go. But what I wanted to ask a couple of questions as far as I know you would you breached the idea of traffic calming. Last time I was at the meeting, you've mentioned it. It's on the agenda here tonight. And are there any ideas that you're ready to implement now? Low cost, maybe temporary stuff. I know we have those bollards like yield to pedestrians, bollards that are out there that, I don't know if they really slow down traffic or if they're distracting drivers or if they're helping. I don't have any information on that. But I do feel like it would be an easy, potentially temporary, low-cost method of traffic calming, just to kind of place them smartly, maybe within a like 8 to 9 feet apart, to mark kind of the road lane. So as cars approach, they would naturally slow down so they can make it through. 8 to 9 feet is plenty. I think fire trucks can get through 8 feet, so it's not like it's really tight, but it's just a visual kind of inducing people to just kind of slow down, and pay attention to exactly where the car is on the road, slow down. And that's kind of the idea that we want. Like we want to make sure that they're aware of what they're doing as they're driving. I know kind of vacation brain kind of kicks in for a lot of people that come down here and they just want to not think about anything because they've been thinking all week and working, the kids, family, whatever. They come down here and they don't want to think different or, they just want to turn off, have a good time. And, I don't want to accommodate that, but at the same time you have to recognize that there is a lot more traffic in the summertime. I know when every time the traffic lights switch, it mentally knowing that the traffic lights will just turn back on. It's an extra thing to think about that you weren't thinking about for 6 months. So it's the same kind of a thing. So having that big, nice visual reminder of there are pedestrians here. Make sure that you're driving a little slower and just placing them on either side of a lane of traffic. And then just kind of marking, you shouldn't be going so close to parked cars or going over the double yellow line, that sort of approach. I feel like that's just a cheap, temporary thing that can be tried. I don't know if there's any legal problems with something like that. I feel like that should be able to implement it. I kind of wanted to know if you were open to that sort of idea, to try those things. But beyond that, things become a little bit more permanent, cost some money, time, thought process planning. You have to go through a whole budget thing. So I was wondering also if I know there's some committees about different kind of projects. There's the pier project on the beach. There's the green committee, or I forget what it's called.
Green team.
Yeah, at Green Team, yeah. So potentially making some sort of committee that kind of thinks about these sorts of issues, the conflict with the different types of vehicles and pedestrians. People do want to walk down to the beach. They want to make sure people are paying attention as they're crossing, New Jersey Avenue or Pacific Avenue, whatever. I think earlier I witnessed the aftermath of an accident on Seaview Avenue, where someone just ran. They seem to. I don't have all the facts. I'm sure the police do. They seem to blow through a stop sign, hit a car, and then those two cars hit another car. So, if there was a bike there, I don't know if that person would survive. Right? That's it seems more safe to plan than just hope there's not a bike where that accident happens, or there's not a person or a family bringing some beach stuff, and kids are coming behind. They're trying to keep track of traffic and their kids and carry stuff, and it becomes a bit chaotic the more intersections, I guess, there are of who's doing what and what their mindset is in. So I think I would like to have a committee started for that, and setting up meetings at the Crest Pier or whatever, so monthly, quarterly, whatever, to just kind of think through some of those issues. I was also curious about that jitney service. Do they report about how that's going, or sustainability, Are they gonna, do they need special permits here, or they just show up and just do their thing?
They get permits.
So it's actually, so it's a shared service with
Shared
the
service.
tourism authority.
Okay. Oh, that's
The
that's
tourism authority, they're actually the ones that went out for the bid on it, and then
Okay.
each one of the municipalities share in the, what I'll call the all-season cost.
And then they have to come here to get a permit and a background check for their, for the drivers
Okay.
and all that.
Who's a good contact at the tourism authority to?
Ben Rose, he was the Ben Rose,
Ben Rose?
yes.
Okay.
Eric, remember the trolley service? It's basically just like the old trolley service, if you remember that.
Yeah, there was
Similar to that.
there was a trolley service like that, yeah.
I think they had two of them, right? Pick the kids up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of options. I know I'm one person, so I'm very sure I didn't think of everything. Other people might have different concerns or problems that I don't see with some of the things that I would have suggested. So, getting people together and kind of think about different answers is, I think, a good thing to get set up. One of my main questions, or the reason why I'm asking about the jitney service and whatnot, is because in addition to all the conflict with all the different types of vehicles, we are a vacation town, and even this weekend on the island, there's going to be a big festival, which is largely revolves around drinking. So people that are attending that festival, a lot of them are going to drink. Some of them are coming from Wildwood Crest. They got to get from Wildwood Crest through Wildwood into North Wildwood. They're going to drink. Hopefully, people will find smart ways to get back home, but it's almost a guarantee that not everybody is. And reducing that as much as possible for not just that event, but all events that we have. People come down for that country western festival, barefoot country thing. Similar thing. A lot of people stay in the Crest and go to that event. I want people to get home safe themselves, but also be safe to the people around them. Providing ways to get places conveniently where they're not hesitant to take the alternative to driving themselves, which I think a lot of times any additional financial cost, even if it's $3, it seems to just turn people off to the option. It's $3, it's nothing, but their car doesn't cost them anything technically to get in it and go. So that you kind of lose out to the more risky behavior that we get more of it in our community because there's just a little bit more friction there. So kind of reducing those frictions, making it easier to reduce those the number of people that aren't making the best decisions. Make it natural for them to make better decisions. Those ideas can also, I feel like that same committee would be a good thing to discuss those ideas and present what we can. And then, look into the financing and the timing and the engineering, if any of that's needed for the answers. I did also have a question about here we go. I had a question about, just grant funding opportunities. Who is like good at finding grants for the town to do stuff? Like, do we have a full-time employee or do we?
Depends on what it is.
It depends
So,
on what it
depends
is.
on-
Sorry.
Depends on what it is,
Okay.
if it's an infrastructure thing, if it's a public safety matter, if it's an engineering type thing, it really just depends on
Okay.
the type of
All right.
project.
Yeah, because I'm sure like healthy living grant stuff and, that I'm sure there's federal and state stuff that, if you don't look into it, you don't even know it's there. So,
Yep.
okay. I think that's most of my points there. I have a lot of detail that I didn't want to go into everything, but I would like to go into those details and find some other people that are interested and kind of create that committee for, you know, pedestrians, biking, e-mobility, people, cars, trucks, coexisting
Yeah.
as safely, pleasantly as possible.
Okay, so you're talking mostly on safety type matters and things?
Largely safety, yeah.
Okay,
Traffic
so I-
Safety Committee.
Probably,
Traffic
I
Safety
would
Advisory
suggest,
Committee.
you know, maybe Commissioner Schiff and you have a conversation on some of your ideas and some of the things he
Okay.
might be able to do and not do and so forth. I know when, like anything on a committee, it's just that sometimes we have a hard time just getting people to serve on our committees
yeah,
and so
to
forth. So
show
if you
up.
have ideas, feel free to bring them forward and we'll see what we can do. I can comment on at least two of them, so on the traffic calming. So on the New Jersey Avenue project, you talked about that earlier. So that is so New Jersey Avenue is going to basically be left-hand turn lanes and one through lane. And then in the business district, where you mentioned the Crest train station, so from Heather to Columbine, that will have medians there as well. So from Cressy down to Rambler, which is the county roadway, which is also the truck route, that's one way, one through lane and an all left-hand turn lane. So that's going to be skinnied up. On Park Boulevard, there is, in Connie's report, there is some grant monies that we are using to put in as a test pilot to see those, what do they call those? We pushed a button and it talks to you, pedestrians crossing type
Right.
on Park. On Ocean Avenue and Atlantic Avenue, people trying to get to the beach. We just discussed that yesterday for potentially, whether it be in-house or through a contractor. You know, people have to slow down when they get, because there's tons of people, like you, to your point, trying to get to the beach, and they need to slow down. And I think sometimes, and I often drive up and down there as well, I see the issues, and I think then, and that's how we got to where some of these things that we're talking about now is from residents and folks bringing things forward to improve the safety of the community. So, anyway, painting pedestrian crosswalks and so forth. I know that the traffic safety department, they do put up those stanchions, and they do paint areas that are high traffic areas as well as best they can. But if there's specific areas, I know those stanchions aren't the most well received. I know they get hit by cars, and they seem like they're everywhere now, they're already on the street. So I know that we're doing that now as a stopgap, so to speak, until we can get, because we are planning on at some point repaving and reconstructing all Park Boulevard. Same thing with New Jersey Avenue. So rather than throwing good money out the door, we're trying to waiting for those projects to happen, and then we'll do them all at that time. Anyway, so I would recommend that you guys talk, have a meeting, and then see what kind of ideas.
Eric,
Yeah,
the
sounds
grant that
good.
we applied for, that I spoke about a little bit earlier, is a $200,000 grant. It's a federal grant. It's called Safe Streets for All. It's a planning and implementation grant, and the idea is traffic safety implementation and planning. So it would involve some work, but mostly a plan, a developed plan by a traffic safety engineer, which is Collier's Engineering. We did apply for it August 30th, but we have not heard back yet whether we have received that $200,000 grant. But we are making our own efforts in addition to the county's local safety road
dovetails.
plan. Right, so we're taking it one step further and bringing it to our town, the county's plan, and kind of marrying the two things together and doing something right here in this town. But we don't know if we're successful yet in obtaining that money.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thanks. Thank you. I'll be talking with Mr. Schiff, and hopefully
Won't
we
be the
can-
first time, right?
Hopefully we can, I don't know, figure out something.
I didn't even recognize you, man. Grew your hair out, I didn't even recognize you.
Yeah, I got lazy. I stopped cutting it.
All right,
you have
anybody
some.
else for public comments?
Thanks,
Anybody on the conference line have public comments? All right, we're going to go right into commissioners' comments.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to say thank you to all our staff for a successful summer. Police, fire, public works, rec department, finance. Trish's office did an excellent job. I didn't hear too many negative things. It was, so in my opinion, it was a successful summer. So thank you to all our staff for keeping us safe and moving forward.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to say the same thing Joe just said. It was a great summer, and hopefully we'll have a great winter. And I think the mayor wants to say a few words.
First, I want to, as Public Safety has already indicated, tomorrow is Mr. Holland's services from 9 to 12. I want to express, on behalf of the borough, our condolences to the Holland family. I could tell many stories about Mr. Holland. When I moved back here as a young man, he was one of the first people I met here in Wildwood Crest when I took my vehicles. I had my red Toyota truck and had rust spots all over it and said, "Hey, can you fix this?" And he started laughing at me. And but he got it done. He was always very helpful, and he'll always tell you what's on his mind. Wasn't going to hold any punches, pull back on anything. So again, our condolences and sympathies from behalf of the borough to the Holland family. Also, just as a reminder, this Saturday is the Seafarers celebration along Sunset Lake. The weather looks like it's holding up for us pretty well, and if it goes as planned, there'll be fireworks at Centennial Park as well to pretty much end the summer, unfortunately. And I will echo what Mr. Franco and Mr. Schiff indicated. Thank you, everybody in the borough, for all their hard work. It was a good summer. It was very crowded. We took our share of compliments and complaints at the same time, but hopefully everybody sees that we do recognize and we do see issues and we do address them proactively as we go forward. So it's not always perfect, but we work to be that way. So thank you all for coming out for tonight's meeting. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.